Hey everybody, this is Brandon with Love to Hate, Kiefer for Perez, and Cigars in Cinema. Got a question to ask you. Are you a fan of horror movies? Do you like to be scared? Is Halloween your thing? If you've answered yes to any of those questions, there's something you got to do. Texas Frightmare Weekend is coming May 5th, 6th, and 7th in DFW. Tickets are available at TexasFrightmareWeekend.com. Go check it out. The list of people that they have coming to this event gets more impressive every year. There's great photo ops, a lot of great vendors. Be there. It's going to be a killer event. Nat Sherman is the leading American luxury brand in premium cigars. From the classic range of the Metropolitan and Host selections to the transformative Timeless collection, their elegant Sterling and limited edition offerings, or the bold and commemorative 1930 blend Andy Polka. Everyone has the opportunity to enjoy a Nat Sherman experience. Family owned and operated since 1930, Nat Sherman's tradition of innovation and commitment to excellence reminds us why America's Nat Sherman brand is known as tobacconist to the world. Love to Hate, the podcast that asks the question, what do you love to hate?
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And I hate your ass face!
Do you love it?
No!
Do you hate it?
Oh, yes! Yes!
You stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, dumb bastard!
I chart in your general direction.
No more foreplay.
Hey kids, it's Monday, so that means it's time for another edition of Love to Hate. That's right, it's me, Philip Fullman.
And I am Brandon Luna.
Well, Brandon, here we are again, Monday afternoon, and we're going to hate on something. What are we going to hate on today?
Zombies.
Zombies?
Aren't
zombies pretty easy to hate?
Yeah, I mean, but the genre of zombie movies, so...
Before we get into this, we want to make a what are we going to call this? An addendum to last week's show on douchebags.
Yeah.
Clarification. Our executive producer Steve, I wouldn't say offended, but he thought we lumped him into the douchebag category by saying that douchebags usually drive big trucks. So we need to clarify what we meant by big truck, not what we meant by douchebag, but what we meant by big truck.
Right. So a big truck, to be clarified, if you get in Ford F-150 or a Ford 250 and you get it stocked from the place and that's what you got, you're fine. What we're talking about is the add-on douchebag, the guy that has all the KC lights.
If you need a ladder to get up into the truck and you can see over all the traffic, if you're basically riding as high as a semi, some form of skull...
Right.
On the truck, spikes on the rims, things like that. That's what we mean by a douchey truck. If basically you have tires on there that limit your miles per hour to, say, 2. Right. That's going to be a douchey truck. So that's what we mean. And another thing, we were trying to talk about what does a douchebag look like. It wasn't until after the show that I realized, textbook douchebag, Guy Fieri.
Yes.
There you go. Douchebag. You want to know what one looks like? Go look up Guy Fieri. Mm-hmm. That's a douchebag.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So, can a zombie be a douchebag?
I think there could definitely be douchebag zombies. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if Guy Fieri dies and he's a zombie. Then he would be a douchebag zombie.
Because he'd still have all the bling.
Right. Then the hair. For a little bit at least. Until
it died out.
Yeah.
All right,
so
why the hate? Because you're more of a horror guy than I am.
I am.
So
I'm
why the hate on zombies? Is it just too much? Is it oversaturated now?
I think that's part of it, yeah. But for me, okay, so I'm a big horror movie guy. I grew up watching horror movies. I was into making my own special effects and crap as a kid, so it's a pretty beloved
You're like a little
genre
Sam Raimi.
for me. Yeah, exactly. Or Tom Savini,
Sam Raimi, yeah.
So zombies were really the first thing that scared me in the horror genre, because I grew up with, back in the Hammer days with Dracula and, the old Universal stuff, Wolfman, Frankenstein, those type of things. Always sci-fi, never really scary. Zombies were the first thing that hit me at a visceral level where it felt like it's something that could be. Like, this is the thing that you dream about, someone dying and coming to get you, and they want to eat your flesh. It's pretty hardcore. More so than anything else, I think, and it's because it seems like it could be possibly real. Like, that's apocalypse stuff right there, right?
Within the realm of...
Yeah.
Okay.
And, more so than, like, aliens, this is a terrestrial thing that you have to deal with. I think aliens are still a possibility, and I get scared by that stuff, too. Just the thought of it, us getting invaded.
You got to quit watching Ancient Aliens.
Yeah. with the douchebag.
Yes. Douchebag, yes.
Yeah, the guy who runs that show. I don't know his name. Total douchebag.
Yeah, he's got that bad hair.
Giant hair and he's like orange. Yeah. Anyway, but so zombies have always been very scary to me. They, Night of the Living Dead was very effective as a film for me. It was, there was already color movies everywhere. This was this black and white gritty film that seemed real, and it just had, true moments of terror. And I've always been, that's the one genre that I thought scared me. And the movies don't really scare me because they're mostly gore, but the idea scares me, And I think that the oversaturation that's out there in the market right now has changed that, and more so The Walking Dead specifically. So Walking Dead, very successful comic book, and you've read it, right?
Yeah, I like the book.
We both like the show.
Yeah.
We were catching up on the show. I'm caught up on the show. But one thing that I think they did, it was a good thing to do on the show, and it was a bad thing to do on the show. And what they've done on the show is the show's gone 7 seasons now, and they've effectively aged the zombies. So as you watch the show, when you start the show, most of the zombies are fresh. They're pretty agile. They can, they'll do some damage to you. They're scary, right? As the show's progressed, most of the zombies are now skin and bones. They're walking a lot slower. They've effectively both, I guess I would say, literally and figuratively, taken the teeth right out of the genre.
I never even thought of that. Honestly, just looking at it, it didn't even occur to me.
Yeah.
Because I've always looked at it as they're just kind of ancillary and they're there.
Right.
But the humans are the monsters, so I haven't really looked at it that way, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, so first, second season, they're a threat. I mean, there's a lot of them. Yes, the human characters, storylines always drive that, and yes, the humans are the real monsters. But there always is that threat of, in the middle of us trying to decide something that's, a super big plot point. Oh, there's a zombie outbreak and we have to deal with that, So the threat was real. But now it's very, very much in the auxiliary. It's very much just a background to the story of the humans. They've taken all the threat out of zombies and made it background noise.
So now they're more so pest.
Right.
They become like the Borg on Star Trek, Next
Yeah,
Generation.
totally.
Because when you first met the Borg, he was like, holy shit, this is, how are they going to do this? And then it's like, oh, and look, they adopted one.
Right,
How cute.
right.
And then the Borgs were no longer a threat, and it was like, until you got to whatever the First Contact, where it was like, okay, now they're scary again.
Exactly.
So you're saying that they're not really...
They're not scary anymore. I mean, they've you can tell the guys are having more fun with doing the cool special effects now, where body parts are just like falling off of them and stuff and all that stuff, and that's great. But they're just not scary anymore. They're not part of the element of the story that's scary at all. And I think
they're a nuisance.
Yeah. And that's how they're played in most movies now too. So it's I don't know. It's weird.
I'm trying to think. Probably the last zombie movie, anything outside of Walking Dead that I saw was World War Z, and they were pretty creepy in that, but they were fast.
They were fast, yeah. Actually,
so what movies are you thinking about where they're more so just annoying?
Well, a lot of movies are doing the same thing. Like, Dawn of the Dead was a catalyst, right? You had Dawn of the Dead was the first zombie movie that was more about the characters and less about the threat of the zombies, and that kind of changed the genre. It didn't in the 70s with the original, but it did with Zack Snyder's. So I'll give Zack Snyder props. He made one good movie. It was Dawn of the Dead. I thought it was a very good remake that, basically it really did pay homage to the original film in that it was still character-driven. And honestly, that's the only character-driven Zack Snyder movie ever. If you watch every one of his movies, which why would you do that? You're just putting yourself through a bunch of CGI and no character development. Dawn of the Dead has character development the way it should. And I think that was the catalyst when that came out for everything else that happened after it. That's the same thing that happened with Walking Dead was basically Dawn of the Dead, the book series. It was all about the characters, not about the zombies. But most of the other stuff that's come out has been that way as well, except for World War Z. World War Z, there is some character stuff with him and his family, but it's not. It's more the action scenes and everything.
Do you think some of the comedic zombie stuff is taken away from the threat of zombies, or can you view that separately?
I think you can view that separately. I think Shaun of the Dead is one of the best examples. There is the best example of that. Besides
movie.
Maybe Return of the Living Dead, which was a really hilarious zombie comedy. And
did you see Warm Bodies?
I did.
The one where the girl falls in love with the zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think of that?
Did you like it?
Kind of the premise.
Yeah, I like the.
I just because it's that whole messed up, like, wow, you're in love with a dead guy and you shouldn't be, and
Right.
to me that's just kind of like. Anytime you give me a storyline like that, there's a book by Robert McCammon called Swan Song. Mm-hmm. And I think it came out about the same time as Stephen King's, The Stand, his apocalyptic...
Yeah, The Stand.
Sorry, okay, so it really got overlooked, but a big novel, very well written. But when a friend explained it to me, he said, okay, so there's a scene in there where this ex-professional wrestler named Black Frankenstein has to take on escapees from a mental institution in a Kmart. Like, I'm there. It's like,
right.
Yeah, reading the book. So when it's like, wait, girl falls in love with zombie, it's like, all right, I'm in it. You got me. I want to see how this plays out.
Right. It was pretty witty and funny, and I thought it was pretty well made.
It had moments, yeah. So yeah, it caught me. It's nothing I'm going to buy. And then recently, the one I just watched that you mentioned, Santa Clarita Diet, mm-hmm. with Drew Barrymore and Timothy Olyphant.
Right.
Which clever, maybe a little too clever, but enjoyable.
Right.
So you don't think those are taken away from the gruesomeness or the fear that zombies were?
Maybe, yeah. I guess you could say that, yeah.
They're kind of taming them down?
Anytime you make fun of something, it takes the teeth right out of it, right?
Kind of like Twilight?
Right.
Because then, who fears vampires? They're all just emo?
Right. Yeah, true.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that's a safe assessment, yeah. To say
so
that
what's
does.
a good example now? If Walking Dead is kind of, I don't know, demystified or taking some of the fear out of zombies, are there any examples?
Not really at this point. Not on the Hollywood level. I mean, there's a couple of independent filmmakers that have probably done some stuff that's pretty cool. There's a guy that I met at Frightmare a couple of years back that has a zombie short that's awesome. He's won tons of awards, but it's more based on the old school zombie stuff than the new stuff. So,
what do you think of do you keep up with the Walking Dead comic?
I stopped. I need to catch up. I'm about 12, 13 episodes behind. So. Issues, I guess. Okay.
Because I was going to say, I'm trying to remember if they've kind of, if the zombies are still as threatening in that as I remember them, or if they've kind of gone the way of the show. But I'll say,
that's a good question.
I'll say this, though. Even though the zombies aren't the threat that they were in the show, the idea that they're mindful of that, and that, as Rick and the other characters have aged and slowed down, that the same thing's going to happen to these zombies. I kind of like that from a storytelling standpoint, because it tells me, hey, they're paying attention and they're being accurate with this, because these zombies wouldn't still be as fast and as dangerous. And so I kind of do like that, but I see what you're saying. It kind of takes away that, ooh, they're out there.
Yeah, I mean, now you see, like, in the last couple of seasons, anytime there's zombies, and they'll be talking about, like, you don't love me like you used to, and I don't know why. And then all of a sudden zombies show up. It's like, dun, 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 dun. It's like, in 2 seconds they move, they stab it in the head, they move, they stab it in the head. Okay, we're back to talking about our lost love for each other. It's not, what it used to be, which was, oh, crap, someone could die here.
Now, part of it is they've got I think they've got are they called the Whisperers coming up? Mm-hmm. From the comic book.
Right.
And they're pretty scary.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
So depending on how they handle that. Now, I haven't seen the second half of this last season, so I don't...
They call it the wolves on the TV show. So
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like if they call them the wolves, that they've already kind of made an appearance. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what happened with Negan and all of that yet. I need to go back and rewatch it if I'm ever back in my own house. But they could add some creep factor.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
To it as well. Do you think the show's slowing down? Is it time to wind up the show?
I think it is. I think the show's kind of outlived its usefulness, to me at least. But I think a lot of that is the way the show's being run. They're doing the new showrunner that they've had probably since like season 5. They are very much on the on that let's fake the people out mode, and I fucking hate that when they just everybody thought Glenn was dead. And they took his name off the credits and everything, and then, he's still alive. But they do that like almost every season now, at least twice.
So it's
the fake outs.
It's
really
the red herring, right?
You hear someone get shot, like
who
my
was
God, they
it?
got shot. And then your favorite character comes back out, like, oh yeah, they're alive.
But I think they spoilers. This is from, I guess, the first part of the season when they first introduced Negan. Mm-hmm. That was a big deal, killing Glenn.
Yeah,
because as a reader of the comic book, you're like, oh, it was Glenn.
Yeah.
But then they don't kill Glenn. And you're like, oh, they spared Glenn. They went with the supporting character. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Like, whoa, hey, he didn't kill two people. Oh, my God, there goes Glenn.
Right.
And for a lot of people, that was kind of a make or break because I remember my buddy Joey saying, man, the show just became way too real. It was always like a fun zombie show and enjoyable, but it's like this just got like hardcore, brutal. Like, wow, they took it to a different level.
Right.
Which I kind of agree with.
I think they needed to do that to get people back on board because I think the show had gotten a little soft.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so I still enjoy the show. I mean, I'm still going to watch the show even though it's not scary anymore like it used to be. Just because I do like the characters and I want to see where they take it versus where the comics take stuff. You know,
If it's not scary, but is it at least still suspenseful?
sometimes it can
Okay.
be. It can be.
Okay.
It just depends. But yeah, I don't know. I think the zombie genre is done. I think it's time to maybe Walking Dead's the last thing, and then that trails off, and then we have a good 5-10 years without zombies. You know, I think that's okay.
Give them time to reboot, kind of like vampires?
Yeah, kind of like vampires still haven't effectively rebooted. What's the last
No.
good vampire movie you saw? Can you even think of one where they were scary and not stupid?
Not really. No.
I
Brandon,
mean, they're trying to revamp the Mummy right now,
yeah.
and that doesn't look good. Have you seen?
Oh,
the
you know,
trailer?
I'm just impressed that Tom Cruise tried to branch out, and he's not playing the hero, and you know, he is playing the villain.
Yeah.
You know, and he
Shut up. He's not the Mummy.
Oh, he's
No, he's not the Mummy.
Oh,
They got a hot chick to play the Mummy.
I saw
You
his.
assume because of his
Well,
face?
no, I saw
Yeah.
his face, and I'm like, oh, they must have done something to make him look like a mummy. Thanks for picking that up. Halfway through it, I'm like, he's not going to pick this
No,
up, and
I
that
picked it up.
joke's just going to die. Yeah, and how long ago was it that Brendan Fraser did that? And I never saw any
Yeah.
of those because they look CGI heavy.
They are. CGI. The first one's still really fun. I mean, the first one is effectively a good, swashbuckler kind of
Raiders
an
of
ode
the
to
Lost Ark
type thing. Yeah,
with the mummy.
right. It's good, but the rest of them, yeah.
I really can't think of the last good vampire movie I saw. Blade, the original Blade, maybe.
The
Bram
last
Stoker's
one I can
Dracula.
think of
I don't watch
that
a lot, so
was actually a dark comedy. What?
say it.
What were you gonna
I think we're talking about the same one. Well, I can't think of the name, but I think you're the one who told me to watch it.
The Ray Liotta plays the bad guy vampire. It's got the chick from La Femme Nikita. Shit, what's that called?
I don't know. See, and I went some totally different direction.
No, you're thinking Vampire's Kiss or something.
No. For those of you at home, Brandon and I are both on our phones going through IMDb,
Right.
trying to figure out what the hell it is that we are talking about. What We Do in Shadows.
What We Do in Shadows. Yes, that's good.
Okay, so good vampire movie, but again, it was a comedy.
It was a comedy.
But it was a well done vampire
the great
movie.
thing
so.
about that is they cover all the vampire
It
bases.
goes through
So you got
every
Nosferatu,
genre.
You
Yeah.
got the 70s vampire. You got it was
the
great.
emo douchey vampire.
Right. Yeah,
so
you got it all.
you're talking about one you said with who? Ray
I'm gonna find
Robert
it.
Loggia?
Yeah, Robert Loggia's in it. It's a vampire movie that is also a gangster movie.
What?
Yes.
Vampire gangsters?
Vampire gangster.
Are you talking about Vampire in
I'm
Brooklyn?
talking about Innocent Blood.
I have not seen that.
Innocent Blood has the chick from La Femme Nikita in it, Anthony LaPaglia, Robert Loggia. It has some other people.
Character actor Robert Loggia?
Chaz Palminteri,
Okay.
Kim Coates, and a bunch of other people. And
Really?
It's basically, she's a vampire, and she is also, I guess, a hooker or something, and gets people to, they hire her, and then she eats them. So Robert Loggia's a mob boss, and he picks her up, and she turns him into a vampire, but doesn't kill him. She turns him into a vampire. So he goes to run his, mob as a vampire Dawn.
What year did that come out?
It was 92.
So it's been a while.
So John Landis, good director. And
Yeah.
it's very much a dark comedy, but it's also very bloody, and the vampires are brutal. They're not sexy.
It's still got the
Yeah.
the scary aspect of it. They haven't defanged them, so to speak.
Right. And it's actually pretty funny, too. So
All right, I
check
may
it
have
out
to
if you
check
haven't
that
seen
out.
Innocent Blood.
Yeah, because really, I mean, if you go to your local bookstore, you're going to find. I think it's tapered off since Twilight, but there was a new vampire novel out every other week, it seemed.
Right.
But as far as movies, I can't really think.
Lost Boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, since
They were
Twilight,
douchebag vampires, but not...
true.
Yeah.
And I never liked I didn't like Kiefer Sutherland before that, so
Before
maybe I need to
24?
go. Yeah.
Did you like him in Lost Boys or no?
Yeah. I think he just kind of that was always just that's who Kiefer Sutherland is. I never saw him as anything else.
Right.
Now I think of him as a reluctant president of the United States with a bitchin' pair of glasses.
Right.
So
Who also could have been possibly Jack Bauer. I'm just waiting for him to go.
Possibly.
I'm actually Jack Bauer.
I
This
told
is
you
my alternate identity.
there is a scene in there where he does yell at somebody for a
Right.
minute, and
Damn
it's
it,
kind of
Chloe.
like
Who's
Yeah.
Chloe?
It's like,
And I
what?
blow my cover. I'm Jack Bauer.
Jack Bauer's president. That wouldn't be so bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then who's going to mess with him?
Right.
Today I take care of.
Jack Bauer is president. We can't mess with him anymore.
Yeah, I don't think they've brought the Russians in on Designated Survivor yet.
Yeah.
But as soon as they do, then it'll be like, okay, this is definitely it's 24-esque, and I think we've talked about that. Do you see those connections because he was Jack Bauer?
Right.
So you're like, oh, this was like 24. Whereas if it was just some other actor being the president,
If it was Josh Brolin as the president,
right? Would you think, oh, that's like 24?
If it was Josh Brolin acting as George W. Bush being president. Did you ever see that movie, W?
No,
No?
it was Oliver Stone. I figured
It's actually pretty entertaining.
I figured it probably wasn't that accurate.
No,
Most-
it's definitely not accurate. But
Most
it's
like
pretty
most
entertaining.
Oliver Stone films.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Oliver Stone guy.
He leads like Platoon. Is that okay? For you?
Platoon was all right,
Yeah, I like Platoon.
but it's no Full Metal Jacket.
No. Well, it's Kubrick, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's
Got a
it's
master
very
at
true.
work there. I think he's definitely a master over Stone any day. You can't even say their names in the same breath, really.
No, that's true. That'd be like comparing him to Zack Snyder.
Right, yeah.
So speaking of not scary, did you see the new Justice League trailer?
Yes,
And?
unfortunately. It looks horrible.
It looks like
stupid.
Batman versus Superman with other people in it.
Yeah, it looks bad. Well, Batman looks a little more happy. It's like they happy-go-lucky Batman up. Now he gets to say quippy things.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're going to lighten the tone, but by that we just mean we're going to throw in some casually funny lines or what we think
Right,
are funny
right.
lines, but we're still going to keep it this dark sepia where you can't make anything out. We're going to give it heavy CGI.
One thing
And
I did
it's
like is they actually... So, Aquaman... everybody's like, Aquaman, really? He talks to fish like he's the worst
Right,
fucking superhero ever. They've actually made Aquaman, it looks like they've made Aquaman the comic relief in this, so you could actually maybe like Aquaman as a character. 'Cause
Right.
if he wasn't the comic relief, it'd still be like, oh, he fucking talks to fish, fuck
Well,
Aquaman.
when they did the last rewrite DC did of Aquaman, they finally made him cool. All those things they talked about where they're like, well, yeah, but Aquaman can do this, he can do that, but they never showed it.
Right.
Then they started showing it like, oh no, he's bulletproof because he's below the sea, his skin's tougher. They made him more like Namor in the
Right.
in the Marvel universe,
Right.
where he's kind of like that belligerent. He's kind of like a combination of Namor and Thor.
Mm-hmm.
So they've kind of hipped him up and shown like, okay, here's what his powers actually are. He can do more than talk to the fish.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of gave him that swaggering type royalty
Right.
thing going. Thor, the new Thor. Did you see
Ragnarok?
that? Ragnarok. Yeah,
I haven't seen the trailer yet, no.
It was all right.
Yeah. I really haven't liked any of the first Thor movie was okay, but I thought it was too terrestrial. It just didn't feel like a Thor movie like
Right.
it should have been. And then the second one was less terrestrial but worse. So I'm just kind of like, at this point on the Thor movies.
Okay.
I like him as Thor. I never thought I would. When I heard he was going to be Thor, I'm like,
Right.
Captain Kirk's dad is Thor? That guy's tiny. And then you see him and you're like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah,
he's buffed up.
completely different.
So he does great for the role. But it's like they can't decide on his look either. Like what the first movie, they blonded his eyebrows.
Yeah,
And then the second one, they just left it. They're like, oh, fuck it, leave it natural.
and now he gets a haircut.
Yeah, exactly. So,
No,
I don't know. What do you think about the Thor movies? overall?
they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like the first one better than the second.
Right.
This one, I don't know. It's all off world, or on another planet. It's got to be on some world.
So in the Marvel Universe, we're off topic, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we do. In the Marvel Universe, who's had their own movies? You got Iron Man movies,
Iron Man, Thor,
Thor,
Captain America,
Captain America,
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Do you want to count the Guardians?
We can. Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
Guardians have had their own movie. Spider-Man's had multiple
But
movies.
his don't count because they're Sony or whatever. So, talking about the Disney Marvel Universe. That's pretty much it, right? So out of
Yeah,
those,
Black Panther's getting ready to have one.
Out of those, though, I think
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, true. But those are one movies. So looking at the ones that have had multiple, we've
Okay.
got Thor, Iron Man. That's it. Right?
Yeah. Well, no, Captain America.
Captain America. Out of those three, who do you think has the best overall movies? I would say Captain America.
I would too.
Captain America is solid. Every single one of those movies is solid. I didn't like the first one that much, but it's still good.
I would say with Captain America, the best movie, and I think to this day it's the best movie Marvel's done. The original Iron Man movie.
Right.
Very well done.
Close
Then I would
to that would
say
be Winter Soldier, I think.
I would too.
Yeah.
I'd say Winter Soldier, and then Civil War.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say out of the franchises, Cap's got two of the best movies
I
in
think
there.
so, too.
And I didn't. I'm with you. I like the first movie, but it wasn't great.
Right.
But the second one, to me, it was along the lines of the first Iron Man, along the lines of Nolan's Batman for me, where it was, we're telling a story here.
Mm-hmm.
It also involves a superhero.
Yeah.
But there's a story here that's going to intrigue
yeah.
you, and we just happen to have this superhero as a character.
Right.
But it wasn't a superhero movie per se.
That's what I loved about Nolan's stuff. Yeah. Nolan's was very story-driven, not superhero-driven.
Right, and Civil War more superhero-driven, but still an enjoyable story.
Right.
And the way they worked him in. And I like the way they added to Cap's, entourage, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a good job. I think they did a home run with Falcon.
Right, yeah.
Still not big on Johansson as Black Widow.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem right for the role for me.
That's interesting.
I'm picturing somebody more badass and Russian, and she just doesn't strike me that way.
I think she handles the action pretty well, though. She does.
Yeah, but she's short.
Yeah.
And if you look in the comic, I just picture her as taller, more seductive, longer hair, and talks more like
You're
this.
Crazy. I don't know. I think she's okay.
She wants to go find moose and squirrel.
Right.
That's kind of what.
Who
I'm
could
thinking.
play that though? Who? Name somebody that's not a WWE wrestler that can't act.
Yeah. Look, that's not my problem. I'm just saying, here's my idea. I mean, I could probably go through and try to figure out who should play who. Now, I'll say this: Wonder Woman. I don't like the gal playing Wonder Woman.
I don't.
Beautiful.
She's way too small.
She is, and that would have been Gina Carano. Granted, she can't act, but it doesn't matter. It's a Zack Snyder film. You don't have to act. You just stand there and react to things.
Right.
But I think she's beautiful enough. She's buff enough.
Yeah, and she's got the fighting chops to pull.
Yeah,
it off.
she could absolutely do that. So I don't like her casting. I hate the guy they cast for Flash. I hate the costume for Flash. Everything about
actor.
that.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
He'd be great in some sort of emo film, I think. But he is. That's not Barry Allen to me.
Yeah,
Barry to me is the blonde, crew cut type of.
He's a man-child, and he always plays the man-child kind of roles.
Yeah.
And everything I've seen him in, I've just wanted to punch him in. I was like, oh, just make him leave the screen, please. I don't want to see this guy in this movie anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I'm not a big fan of him.
All
so
right.
Back to the zombie genre real quick. Top 10 zombie movies of all time. This is according
Top
to
10?
Rolling Stone magazine. Number 10
Well,
is Zombieland.
that's a legit source.
Zombieland is a good one. Did you ever see
That's number
Zombieland?
10. I did. I liked it.
Yeah.
And
Fun.
I'm not a Woody Harrelson fan.
Yeah, but that was a very fun, effectively done zombie movie that had scary zombies.
Yeah.
And a good cast, and it was fun. Dead Snow, if you haven't seen that, is greatness. It's basically ski.
I think I've
People
heard of
go
that.
to ski in the Alps, and out pops Nazi zombies, and they have to fight the Nazi zombies. It's basically
What?
skiers versus zombies. Yeah, it's hilarious.
What's it called?
It is called Dead Snow.
Dead Snow.
It's a Norwegian movie or something like that. Or
Oh,
it's
okay. Well, that
in
explains
foreign
a lot.
language. But it is on Netflix.
Okay.
Planet Terror, I disagree with that. I didn't think that was.
Haven't seen it.
Dead Alive is definitely one, yes.
Haven't seen it.
New Zealand flick, that's greatness. Shaun of the Dead, number 6. All these are
Love
comedies.
Shaun-
Every
yeah.
single one of these is listed as comedies. 28 Days Later.
I haven't seen
effective
that. I've heard it's
zombie
good.
film. Yeah. I liked that one a lot. All right, it has number 4 as Reanimator, which is a B-grade,
yeah, I've
cheesy
heard
one
of
with
it.
the head that's alive.
Right.
That was good stuff. Dawn of the Dead is number 3 from 2004.
Okay. That's the
Then-
Zack Snyder one, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
the original Dawn of the Dead from 78, and then, of course, the first one, Night of the Living Dead. So, pretty decent list, I think, overall, even though there's a lot of comedies in there, so that tells you where the genre's gone. There's a lot of zomcoms.
I think it's got room for it, but it can be well done because you can do a lot of room to do a bad zombie comedy. But I think the ones it mentioned on there, especially Shaun of the Dead, respected
Right.
the zombie genre, but then just kind of worked the humor in. It was more of an homage, I think, to zombie films
Right.
than anything else.
Man, the zombies were effective and scary, and they actually killed
They
people,
were,
so-
yeah, because they actually killed people. Because you lost some characters you cared about in that movie. I think if it's a straight up comedy, they're going to try to save some of those people,
Right.
and they didn't. Because as you know, in Zombieland, we lost a very dear person, Bill Murray, which just who didn't cry during that?
Right. And in Shaun of the Dead, we lost Dylan Moran. So
There
he's
you
a
go.
big British comedy guy that a lot of people don't know. They see him and like he's just the douchebag guy from Shaun of the Dead. But he's actually a really good comedian.
he's been in several things. He was on Spaced
Yeah.
with
And he's got a series that he did called Black Books. It's very funny if you haven't seen it. Great show. He plays he owns a little bookstore, like a shitty little bookstore.
Yeah, he was also on there with Simon Pegg. Let me borrow your lighter.
Yes, he was. Yeah, Simon Pegg was there as the guy
Simon
that
Pegg
ran
does
the,
a lot of
the
does a
big
lot.
next door, the I guess the Barnes and Noble's equivalent or whatever.
Yeah,
They work together well. Simon Pegg, good actor. Like surprisingly for that, being a comedian and stuff, he pulled off a decent performance at the end of Shaun of the Dead there, and he's always one that can break out the tears if he needs to.
Yeah.
Decent actor.
Well, in Hot Fuzz, did you like Hot Fuzz?
Loved Hot Fuzz. Yeah.
That was
Hot Fuzz and
fantastic.
Shaun of the Dead are my two favorites in the Cornetto trilogy. I thought That World's End was okay,
It
but
was
I thought
fair.
it borrowed too much from the other two.
Yeah, I wasn't as big a fan of that.
I actually liked Paul better than that, and that wasn't
Did you?
part of the Cornetto trilogy.
What was the other one? The Search for Happiness.
Yeah.
He was in. That was really good. Again, comedy, not hard, not nerdy, but really well done. I really enjoyed that. I think I watched that at Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah? All right. Well, we've effectively skewed the zombie genre enough. So I just don't think they're scary anymore, and I'm done with them for now.
But you're still going to watch Walking Dead when it comes
probably
back?
Still watch it. I don't know. It depends. It's what? We got how many? 8 months before it comes back? 9
Probably.
months, something like that?
Maybe you'll be interested again.
I
still
maybe
have
I
to
will
go. See, I'm still kind of interested because I have to go back.
I'll catch up on the
I want
comics,
your-
and then we'll see from there. We'll see what I decide at that point.
Okay.
That's fair, I think.
Yeah, I don't think you're being
And I'll
too harsh.
go back and maybe read a little bit of the comics and see if the threat is there still in the comics or if it's gone like it is in the show.
All right. Then you'll report back to us and let
Yes,
us know
of
what you
course,
think.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, kids, thanks for spending another 30 minutes with a couple of giant nerds talking about zombies. If they would like to weigh in on our zombie conversation, agree, disagree, tell us we don't know what the hell we're talking about, where would they put those comments, Brandon?
I don't like to hear that kind of stuff, so nowhere.
Okay.
No, you
So
can go
if
to
you-
you can go to Twitter. You can tweet us on Twitter. Is it tweeting? It's tweeting, right?
It's tweeting on Twitter,
At,
yes.
at love2, the number 2, hate pod POD, and give us your comments and questions there. If you want to suggest something for the show besides Trump, please do. You can also make comments on the YouTube sites. You can go to YouTube, listen to the show there, and make your comments there as well. But also don't forget to listen to us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Spreaker.
All right, kids, we will talk to you next Monday. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.